America is a land of bright lights and broken dreams, a place that delights and inspires a hunger for fame. It's also a place that some people find hard to leave, even after death.
My name's Gail Porter and I'm a skeptic.
My name is Chris Fleming and I am a sensitive.
It's my mission to investigate alleged sightings and hauntings of Hollywood ghosts.
A sensitive can detect paranormal events beyond the range of the 5 senses.
I wouldn't say I'm a non-believer, but I'm definitely a skeptic.
Together, our mission is to investigate the dead famous. Our search for Hollywood's love goddess, Rita Hayworth, would take us from the silent movie theatre where she dated Orson Welles.
Oh, see that? What was that?
To the notorious Max Factor building, where her iconic image was forged.
There was blood. There was blood involved.
And finally to the Palace Theatre, where a young Margarita Cansino first glimpsed the dancing stage that would propel her to Hollywood stardom.
Please move forward and affect this. What's wrong?
Something touched my eye.
Oh my God. I saw it again.
Oh my God.
Holy...
The all-American sweetheart, Rita Hayworth, stole the hearts of men around the world. Appearing in her first feature film at the age of 16, Hayworth lit up the screen with an energetic dance sequence that saw the stage engulfed in flames, women screaming and men fainting in the aisles. It was a fitting start for a young Hispanic girl who transformed into Hollywood's finest all-singing, all-dancing American pin-up.
But her life was not always so golden. Her parents were performers at the Palace Theatre in New York, and her father was teaching her how to dance as soon as she could walk.
Enlisted in the dancing casinos as her father's partner, Rita was rehearsing and performing every day from as long as she could remember. She would later comment that she felt that she had missed out on her childhood.
At the height of her success, she lived here in Beverly Hills. But towards the end of her career, she was beginning to forget her lines and becoming unreliable on set. By the time of her death in 1987, it was discovered she had Alzheimer's. So will the spirit we find be that of the highly successful performer, or will Rita have taken a long-earned rest away from the limelight?
Margarita Carmen Dolores Cansino began life in Brooklyn, New York on the 17th of October 1918. Born into show business, her family moved to LA when she was 8, where her father, Eduardo, opened the Cansino Dancing School.
Her father, Eduardo Cansino, had come from Seville, Spain, already a second-generation dancer. So he had a variety of acts that he used in vaudeville and also in nightclubs. So she very naturally fell into that background of dancing and performing in front of an audience. And they frequently performed in Tijuana and Agua Caliente, who had a very well-known casino restaurant where many of the Hollywood celebrities came down for the weekend.
It was in Tijuana that Hollywood producers first spotted the young starlet dancing in her father's vaudeville show. As the silent movie era was coming to an end, the movie moguls were looking for new stars for a fresh era in talking pictures.
Well, Rita Hayworth, Margarita Cansino, had a vitality, a spontaneity, I would like to say a rawness in her dancing that called the attention of the studios. That potential, that nugget, was very conscientiously developed into something different.
The golden age of Hollywood was born out of the depression of the early 30s, and studio producers were looking for the all-American star. However, the young Hispanic Margarita Cansino didn't fit the bill, but the made-over Rita Hayworth did.
Through electrolysis, she had like a widow's peak, and they transformed her hairstyle, and they changed her name from Rita Cansino, and she took her mother's name, Rita Hayworth.
The studios constantly altered Hayworth's image, and it was in the film Gilda that she created her most iconic look.
Everything came together. She danced in it, she sang in it, she looked terrific. Her character just exuded this sexuality and this presence that was just phenomenal. She was American womanhood at its best.
Gilda established Rita Hayworth as Hollywood's leading female star and as the American troops' favourite World War II pin-up.
When people thought of the girl next door, the girl back home, they thought of Rita. She was every soldier's sweetheart.
But the girl next door's personal life opposed that of her on-screen persona. Shy and unassuming, Hayworth longed for domestic bliss. Divorced 5 times, she never achieved her goal, and often said, "Every man I've ever known has fallen in love with Gilda and woke up with me." We started our search for Rita Hayworth in Los Angeles. Her marriage to Orson Welles was dubbed the beauty and the brain, and was said to be the happiest time of her life. Wells fell in love with the iconic image, and Hayworth took the opportunity to improve herself at the hands of one of Hollywood's brightest stars. And it was to the silent movie theatre that Wells took Hayworth to watch some of his all-time favourite pictures.
The theatre was built by John and Dorothy Hampton, a dream of a young couple that came across the country from Oklahoma in 1941 to build the only silent cinema in the country here in Hollywood, California. Of course, the celebrities would all start to come in here, not only silent celebrities, but the talkie celebrities of the day. Of course, there's a lot of legends of Rita Hayworth and Orson Welles coming on their early dates here. Orson was a big fan of silent pictures.
The theatre was a major success, and the Hamptons were the talk of Tinseltown. But the present-day saga has a much more sinister story behind it. There have been assassination and murder plots within the walls of this theatre, as well as ghostly sightings of previous owners.
But a lot of people have had some really uncomfortable experiences here, and they've quit on me, if it's been employees or patrons who say they'll never come back because they experienced things that made them very uncomfortable. You know, we're the only silent cinema left pretty much on the planet Earth, and, well, where do all these dead people go who were part of the industry back then? They come to the silent movie theater.
Now, this place is very famous. It's a silent movie theatre. Not only that, but this place has also got a very traumatic history. So I've arranged to meet Charlie, who's the owner of this place. And, you know, usually we walk round together. Well, this time, I'm going to walk around first, get Charlie to tell me all the stories, and then you go for coffee, meet me back here in about 20 minutes. We'll look for Rita Hayworth, and I'll do a little test, see if you can pick up where all these traumatic happenings actually occurred.
A test?
Yeah, testing you. Something a bit different, you know.
Oh, man, you're kidding me.
Hi, you must be Charlie.
I am.
I'm Gail.
Oh, welcome, Gail. Welcome to Silent Movie Theatre.
Now, I hear you've got some very interesting stories here. Slightly dark stories.
Yes. Well, if you want to stand over here at the concession counter, I'll show you where the second owner of the theatre was actually murdered. Want to check it out?
Not that we like murder, but yes, please.
Yes, quite. Come on over. The gunman actually came here and took out the gun and said, "Give me the money in the register." So they gave him the money in the register, and then he shot him 5 times in the face. So what had happened was the owner's lover, his gay lover, was actually a projectionist that night and hired a man to come in and shoot Lawrence Austin because he wanted the theater and the $1 million film collection.
And did the guys get caught for it?
Oh, yes. They saved themselves from the electric chair because they told on each other.
Ratted on each other. Mm-hmm. And what about Lawrence? Is he still here?
We allowed Larry to stay right there in that spot, and so all my employees, always walking through here, always in the corner of their eye, they always see somebody, something. When they look over there, of course, there's nothing there.
Obviously, there's a lot of dramatic stories, but there's more romantic stories than there are traumatic stories.
Lots of romance.
Because that's the whole point of this place. And we're looking for Rita Hayworth, who would have come here with Orson Welles.
The legend has it that they did. They always loved to sit in the back row, all the stars. Even today, Johnny Depp and Issa Paradis, when Brad Pitt was with Jennifer Aniston, they'd all sit in the back row and nobody really cared about them.
Having been told the silent movie theatre's tragic past, it was time to put Chris's psychic powers to the test. Would he pick up on the romantic energy of the back row seats, or the murderous secrets of the foyer?
So you didn't put together any surprises for me, did you?
No, nothing like that. But I'm going to let you wander around, and if you want to ask me any questions, I don't know about everything, but I know quite a lot about some of the stories to do with this place. So if you walk around and get the feel for the place.
All right. Ooh, right away, right in here. Right in here already.
That was quick. What are you picking up here?
He was killed right here, I think. I sense and feel that there is someone standing here with me, that there is just someone behind me. Don't be afraid. I want to make contact with you. Can you please give me a sign? Whoa. I'm feeling it in the back of my head. And give me a sign that you're here. Can you please give us a sign?
Chris placed his audio recorder on the spot where Lawrence Austin, the theatre's previous owner, was shot dead. Could this be the spirit of the murdered theatre owner? The investigation had started strongly, but it was in the theatre itself, if anywhere, that we would find Rita Hayworth. Could she still be sat in the back row with Orson Welles?
Someone's walking with me.
Is someone putting a light on the roof?
Why? Would you see something? Would you see an orb? A light?
It's a white light going really slowly. Unless it's because I put this light in my eye. Went like that.
Okay.
But really slowly, though.
Yeah.
So I assumed it was one of you lot, so I was trying to
Oh,
figure
no,
it
we're
out.
all focused towards you. Something's moving right up to me. Can you manifest and show yourself to Gail? Gail has never, ever seen a ghost before. And...
Oh, you see that? What was that? What was that? Did you see that?
Yeah, that was like smoke, wasn't it?
It was like smoke, just going straight down into the ground. What was that?
Gail has never, ever seen a ghost before.
Could this have been a sign from Rita Hayworth herself? It was a promising start to our investigation into the silent movie theatre. But did it have other secrets that it wanted to share with us? Our search for America's favourite wartime pin-up, Rita Hayworth, had started in Los Angeles at the silent movie theatre, and already it had presented us with an unexplained phenomenon.
Oh, see that? What was that?
But if the spirits of the theatre were coming alive, then I wanted some more proof. I remained alone on the back row of the cinema, whilst Chris explored the rest of the building.
I'm sitting in the back row of the silent movie theatre, where lots of legends have sat, like Rita Hayworth and Orson Welles and Marilyn Monroe and Tony Curtis.
Ooh. It's all in here. It's the whole area in here.
It's also the same row that the man who murdered the old owner sat in before he went and shot him 5 times in the head.
Something freaking happened here. What is this dizziness feeling? Yeah, this person was beat on the head or they fell? They fell and hit their head.
Rita Hayworth. Do you remember coming here? Are you still here?
Yep, he was beat over the head. That's what happened here. Well, the body could have been left here or something. Ooh, right here. Right here.
Well, I actually interviewed David Slaughter, who had worked for Lawrence Austin, the second proprietor. I said, David, what is it about this area back here? Do you know anything about this area back here? He's like, yeah, I know about this area. There was this homeless guy who kept peeing on the theater, sleeping out there and peeing and eating and leaving trash, and it was going on for a year. And then he just recently disappeared. I think that James Van Sickle killed him and buried him back there because that slab of cement was then put in shortly thereafter.
The impact of the theatre's murderous past and alleged homicide was definitely influencing our investigation. I hoped that by inviting Sloane Bella, a local psychic, we could persuade Hollywood's red-haired sex bomb, Rita Hayworth, to make contact.
Actually, Sloane, when we first came in here, there's some interesting things that occurred, so I'm just wondering if there's anything that you pick up walking through here at all, or...
I don't get anybody, quote, famous, but I do get... I want to use the name Elizabeth's, but I get the name Elizabeth, and I feel like she was somebody who actually worked here. And the other thing I get right as I walk in the door is Howard Hughes. So is he connected to this?
He dated Rita Hayworth.
Oh, he did date her. Okay, I didn't even know that.
Let's walk down here. And just go ahead and...
Well, in this corridor, there's definitely a temperature change coming in this way.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's at least... This will sound very strange, but there's at least 30 people who wander in this studio, but none of them are the murder people that I'm seeing. These are people that still stick around here for some reason. I am getting an older male energy across that side, older male energy. So do you know if the murder was connected to a young brunette-haired man and a taller, like, kind of had a weird eye, bushy-haired older man?
Mr. Austin was, how do you describe Mr. Austin? He was a character. He had a little bit of I don't know if I'd call it a wandering eye so much as it was just, he always looked like he was out of it.
So this is the row that Rita would have sat in. You guys haven't been picking up any Rita energy, have you?
No, I don't think she's here.
I've got no idea which seat she would have sat in, because she came to the cinema so many times with Orson Welles, but you just don't feel that she's still here.
No, but I felt that she probably sat over here. You know, we talk about place memory. I'm actually feeling Orson Welles' energy over here. His energy was stronger than hers was, so I'm assuming if he sat here, she probably sat here too.
Our night at the silent movie theatre had come to an end. I was impressed by the accuracy of what Chris had felt and Sloane's interpretation of the cinema's dark and murderous past. But we hadn't found Rita Hayworth, so our search moved further afield. Before Rita Hayworth materialised onto the silver screen, there was Margarita Cancino. Her infamous transformation stripped away the young Hispanic girl, replacing it with America's most famous pin-up.
Rita Hayworth, like many other stars, was part of a makeover situation. Her hair was considered to be too low, too Spanish, and by receding the hairline with painful electrolysis and changing the hairdo, over a period of several years, the ethnic background became faded out. She was made over by the Dream Factory, became an icon. Rita Hayworth acquired a life larger than life, and was ultimately the product of a system that fabricated a myth. How Rita Hayworth has been perceived has nothing to do with how Rita Hayworth really was.
Rita Hayworth's makeover was the catalyst to her success and her lonely personal life. Although orchestrated by Hollywood moguls, one man, Max Factor, created it.
Max Factor created all the images. He was the king of makeup in Hollywood, the undisputed king. And his creations people stood in line for. So these stars, believe it or not, were born looking just like you and me. They were average-looking people. And once they came into the Max Factor building and Max Factor assigned the appropriate look to them in the appropriate makeup room, when they left as silver screen gods and goddesses. And that's how we saw them on the screen.
Situated in the heart of Tinseltown, the Max Factor building was purchased by the man himself in 1934, where he established the makeup headquarters of Hollywood. Now serving as the Hollywood Museum, housing famous film memorabilia, it is also alleged to be haunted by the very stars that once came to the building for the Max Factor magic. I arranged to meet Donnell Dadigan to find out more about this historical building and its famous makeup rooms.
Well, come on into the Brownetts-only room.
So why would this room be so important to Rita Hayworth's career?
In the 1930s, you didn't just snap your fingers and have liposuction and plastic surgery. So all of the great stars of the era and the movie studios had to rely on the lighting magic and the makeup genius of Max Factor. And here's a perfect example. This is Max Factor making up a very young Rita Cancino. As you can see, they've already worked on her complexion. They've lightened her skin. They've changed the shape of her eyebrows. They've enhanced the shape of her mouth. And he did one other very, very major thing here in this room, and that was he used electrolysis to change the hairline. And he raised her hairline 3/4 of an inch higher. And when they finished this session, she walked out as Rita Hayworth.
So is there any spiritual activity that goes on in this room?
Actually, yes. From this photograph, you can feel a very strength pulling you across this room to the Redheads Only room, which was Rita Hayworth's next stop.
Our next stop was to wait for nightfall. But would the investigation be successful in the place that the iconic red-headed image of Gilda was born? Would we find Rita Hayworth still here, or had Margarita Cancino left, vowing never to return again?
Okay, since that Rita Hayworth has been on this floor in these two rooms, why don't we go there first, see if we pick up any of her energy, and then we'll just see where that takes us.
Well, Donnell said that the first room she went to when she ever came here was the Brownette room, so why don't we start there?
Yeah.
Sort of do it in chronological order.
Perfect.
Okay.
What I'm trying to figure out now is I sense the energy, but I sense a spirit that walks around these halls, that walks around this building. But why am I picking up in this spot right here an increase of energy in this room where there's a spike, where it stands out, okay? I'll walk over here.
You've got to remember, like, it could also be, Max Factor, because he's going to be standing in the middle of the room creating, well, he's actually almost creating these women, but he's creating their complete image, isn't he?
We ventured into the Redheads Only room, where Donnell reported a certain energy, and the place that Rita Hayworth transformed into Gilda, her ultimate look.
Whatever it is, the spirit, the energy, she was saying, goes right into this room. The spirit travels into this room, goes right through the wall.
How can residual energy come through a wall?
Spirits and ghosts, they don't use doors, okay? A lot of them don't. The ones that have realized that there's no such thing as physics on the other side go right through walls. So the pathway she was talking about, I believe, is that residual energy that is left over from the spirit going back and forth.
So it's a spirit, it's not just energy?
It's a ghost. It's a ghost that's leaving behind
So
the
residual energy is the same thing as a ghost?
It is the energy that's left over from that ghost having been here recently.
If a ghost had been in the room, then I was keen to find out who it was and where it had gone. Chris felt a pull towards the basement of the building.
Okay, there's definitely something over here. Very thick. I feel like I'm walking through water, Gil, like it's getting thicker and thicker. I don't know why. Something happened here. There was blood. There was blood involved. I mean, it's like this during the Prohibition. I mean, there could have been people down here with parties or whatever, or the mob.
In our lower level, there used to be a bowling alley and speakeasy during Prohibition days. And the great entertainers of the era would be down there, and they would be mixing it up with questionable characters, folks that maybe were from the mafia.
Our investigation of the historical Max Factor building had taken a sinister turn.
It really feels like someone was shot here because I see a body in a suit and blood.
But as our search for Rita Hayworth continued, would she stay hidden behind her manufactured image? Our search for the spirit of Rita Hayworth had taken us to the makeup centre of Tinseltown. It was here that the synonymous film character of Gilda was created, and it was a mask that Hayworth carried for much of her life. Could I entice her to communicate in one of the famous makeup rooms? And would Chris finally make contact with the spirit lurking in the fabric of the building?
I'm in the brunette room, which was the first room that Margarita Cancino came to and began her transformation to Rita Hayworth. I'm actually sitting in the corner where Danielle said that she'd heard or felt that there was a presence going from this room to the redhead room. Margarita a few questions, and then I'll ask Rita a few questions. Margarita, if you were in this room where you can hear me, would you give me a sign?
Now I'm feeling that the same spirit that I felt before, that was downstairs in the basement as well as on the first floor with Gail. Maybe the same one that's moving around up here. It's like playing cat and mouse.
Rita, are you here in this room? Can you hear me? Can you give me a sign of some sort? Make a noise, or show yourself, or move something?
What I'm sensing right now is this is not an evil or malevolent spirit. It really just wants to be alone, and it's kind of irritated and agitated that we're not giving it this privacy.
You spent a lot of time in this room, getting transformed. Were you happy at the time?
I have not felt Rita Hayworth's ghost, but I have felt her energy upstairs.
Do you still think of yourself as Margarita, or did you completely change into Rita along with your image?
And as for Max Factor haunting this place, there's definitely a male that is prominent in this location. But being Max Factor, if it's avoiding me and not coming in contact with me, then I can't read it. I can't tell for sure.
Considering the enormous transformation that Rita Hayworth went through in those makeup rooms, I left the building disappointed that there was no remnants of the sultry superstar. After a good night's sleep, I was keen to find out what Chris had made of the Max Factor building.
Did you pick up anything paranormal? Did you feel any hot spots, cool spots, anything like that?
It wasn't active. I'll come right out and say it. It wasn't a very active place. Now, I did feel that there was a male spirit there, but he wanted nothing to do with us. Because every time I felt that there was something, he was moving away.
I think historically, that building was amazing for us, just to learn a bit more about Rita and see who she was when she started off. But it just didn't do it spiritually for us, I don't think.
It was clear to me that our investigation needed a change of focus. If we couldn't find Rita Hayworth, the red-headed love goddess, then maybe we needed to go back to her natural roots.
Rita Hayworth's obvious talent was dancing. And even when you see a musical comedy of the 40s, she comes really to life when she dances. She tends to dance with bare feet, working with her hair, moving like in feline movements in ways that are a little different from a Judy Garland musical. You're watching a Rita Hayworth film, and you're always watching Rita Hayworth. The plot is of no consequence.
10 miles south on Highway 101 is the downtown area of Los Angeles. This was to be the last step of our investigation. Presently, the Latin Quarter of the city, the rundown area had changed dramatically since the days when Rita and her father Eduardo performed at the Palace Theatre with the dancing Cancinos.
The theater opened in 1911 as the Orpheum Theater. That was its name. It was the third Orpheum Theater built here in downtown Los Angeles. The very top stars would play this stage, and they'd play it, for weeks at a time. Some of the people that we know who played here include the Marx Brothers, W.C. Fields, Bob Hope,
Houdini used to play here. It's said that he used to keep an ambulance parked out front just in case.
The Palace Theatre was the West Coast's major stop in the variety cabaret that was vaudeville. Among the singers and magicians, the dancing cansinos, including the young Margarita, were at the top of the bill.
I found this lovely playbill from 1923 that showed that Houdini was playing here, but also the dancing casinos were playing here. So we know that she was here because she was traveling with her family at that time and probably was part of the act, even though she wasn't listed as the 4 principal dancers. I don't think it's that far a stretch to imagine that if she wanted to come back to a place that she probably had fond memories of, a place that she loved, her spirit might wander through.
Rita Hayworth actually performed on that stage when she was about 8 years old because she was a passionate dancer and she used to perform with her family.
Why here?
They were touring around America and they came to this theatre. They were on the same bill as Houdini.
Really? That's exciting.
Would her spirit return somewhere like this? Would this be a significant place for her?
Well, it's possible. I mean, if she performed here, she must have been very excited seeing such a packed house.
Yeah.
And in those days, I guess, vaudeville was pretty big time.
Yeah, it was really big. Well, let's go and take a wee look around.
It was time to take to the stage and find out more about the theatre's ghostly past from its tour guide.
Hi, you must be Steve.
I'm Steve Markham, good old British name. Hi.
Pleased to meet you. What a beautiful theatre.
Yes, it is indeed. It's an old theatre and full of history, full of history.
One of the reasons why Gail and I are here is because we're looking for paranormal activity. So our question is there any ghosts that are here?
Mostly they're up in the third balcony there, which isn't used much. And they've been on the stage here too. I used to come in on Saturday mornings to do my tours. And I'd come on a darkened stage, and I could feel, when I felt a chill, I knew they were here.
How many ghosts do you think are here?
We have counted 22.
How did you know there's 22?
We had a paranormal go through here, and he counted them. We went up, the dressing room's up there, and he looked down, and he said, oh, 22 people looking at us up here.
Would you mind, because we want to do an investigation around here when it's darker, would you mind if Chris and I did that later?
Well, of course, you'd be very welcome.
Thank you very much.
Let me know what happens.
We will do.
Good.
As the sun set over California, Chris and I both felt anxious to get underway. Would the theatre get us closer to Rita? Is Hayworth still dancing on that famous stage? Would we find a happy ending, or is America's renowned pin-up gone forever?
Ooh, feeling it right by me, Gail.
What do you feel? Okay. Bad?
Change of temperature and energy. I felt energy just shift, just change as it came towards me. I wouldn't say it's evil. I would say it's unhappy.
Is it a haunted type of spirit, or is it just an energy?
It's a spirit. All right, let's move on.
Chris had felt a presence within the enveloping darkness of backstage. We moved up towards the changing rooms to investigate the cause.
Okay, definitely. As we're moving higher up here, I'm sensing a difference in the energy level, which is telling me it's more active, as if there were spirits up there at the time that left over some residual energy, which I was absorbing. The spirit that was standing right here a second ago, would you please move forward in front of my hand? Please move forward and affect this. What's wrong?
Something touched my eye.
What?
Something touched my eye.
You serious?
Seriously. I don't know, something touched my eye. I promise you, something just touched my eye. It's just as I was blinking, it was like that.
Ooh,
Like
ooh.
Like a real...
Spirit, can you please come forward and... Can you make this light bulb sway?
One behind you's moving.
You didn't touch that.
I didn't touch it, I'm here.
Gail, is there any... Okay, it's near a window? So you think the window caused that to move?
I don't know.
Come here. Do you see this one moving? And it's right by the window.
Can no one bang into it?
No, look at it.
You can't. Is it too high?
Whoa. Guys, is there a laser from your camera that is going on the wall?
No.
Okay. Then I just saw an orb, literally saw an orb shoot right across this wall.
Just as Chris had witnessed with his own eyes, the orb is also picked up on camera. Could the spirit of the young Rita Hayworth be playing with us? Or was this the reflection of a mischievous Palace Theatre ghost?
None of the lasers on these cameras is causing that. Will you please shout out your name for us? Or speak to us? Do you have a message? Hey, did anybody touch this light bulb? It's moving now. It wasn't moving at all before.
The The investigation had started strongly, but with no proof that Rita had made contact, we went back to the stage in the hope of finding more evidence.
Whoa. Can you make something levitate? Or can you move an object in this room for us to see it? Oh my God, I saw it again. I saw it again.
What did you see?
This was the brightest light I have ever seen. Holy... That's the brightest thing I have seen us in any of our investigations. The brightest light, solid. So the good news is that we were asking for things to happen, and they're happening. They're happening shortly afterwards. So if we keep up that optimism, who knows, maybe you'll eventually get to see a ghost.
Whoever or whatever continues to haunt the empty theatre certainly wasn't afraid of us. Would splitting up to cover the labyrinth of tunnels and corridors in the basement below get us any closer to Rita?
Oh, I'm downstairs in the basement. And seems to be a dressing room. It's so quiet down here.
About it in here I don't like. I'm getting a depressed feeling, emotion, sadness. Did somebody die in this room or have a mishap?
Someone who worked here, he was either a janitor or a projectionist or someone. He would go to the morgue and he would claim people's remains and then he would give them a proper burial. But whenever he died, they then found, in his workspace, 4 or 5 sets of remains that he hadn't gotten around to bury yet, that stayed here in the theater and might still be here.
From its origins as a place of entertainment, we had witnessed a much darker side to the Palace Theatre. We returned to the same stage that Rita Hayworth once graced in an attempt to summon her spirit through a Ouija board. I had invited PhenomQuest, a specialist Ouija board group, to hold the session. Parapsychologist Pamela Heath was here to offer the group protection, and I was ready to confirm or disprove whatever occurred.
Is there anybody here in the room with us right now? Yes. Do you wish to speak to us? No. Who are we speaking to right now? J A C K.
Jack.
Yes.
His name is Jack.
Anybody else want to ask a question? Feel free.
Has Rita Hayworth been here?
Yes.
Is she here now?
Is Rita Hayworth here now? No. Can you answer questions about Rita? Yes. How many children did Rita Hayworth have?
4?
4?
No. How many times did she get married?
Yes. 6. Yes. Are you guessing?
Well, he's guessed all of them wrong so far, so...
Yes. He knows that.
So he doesn't know Rita Hayworth?
No. Who is this that we're speaking to?
My camera just switched itself off, Chris.
Did it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know, there's something still here. I don't like it, because I'm shaking.
Mm-hmm.
It's the shadow people?
No.
There's something else I think that lurks and keeps control of all the other low-level entities. Kind of like he's a...
Maybe he's the guy in dressing room 2.
Are you the guy in dressing room 2?
He wants us to go down
there. I know, he does.
We gotta go down there.
Yeah.
Because if something's gonna happen, we gotta go down there.
The ghost hunters had previously felt a dark presence in the basement. We headed down to dressing room 2.
Will you speak to us? Cast your voice. Let us hear you.
I think he will come for the board.
What?
He'll come for the board because he'll see it as an opening.
Right. Will you show yourself to us, your dark form?
No.
Why not?
No. V E
Have.
N O C
Yes.
Have no care. What? Are you saying that I don't care about you? You don't care about us?
Yes.
Okay. Are you the reason the other spirits were running away? Okay. Do you want to move on to the other side? No. Are you afraid to move on to the other side?
No.
Do you want to be forgiven?
Yes.
Of course you do. Everybody does. There are people that are waiting for you. There are people that are now calling for you. Now, feel what you have deserved this whole life, what you have been afraid to feel because you didn't feel you were worthy. Go to the light right now. You came from the light. Now go back and be forgiven because you are already forgiven.
Yes.
Goodbye.
It's gone.
The Ouija board session had reached a dramatic climax, and it seemed appropriate to end our search for the spirit of Rita Hayworth here. It was a disappointing end to what had been a fascinating journey into the story of a star that touched her generation.
So how do you feel we did during the investigation?
Well, I don't think we got the spirit of Rita Hayworth at all. We had some brilliant locations. You know, we had the silent movie theatre, which was just amazing to be somewhere like that, where she'd gone to the cinema with Orson Welles, and it's the last silent movie theatre in the world. And then we went to the Max Factor building, which is probably my favourite place in this whole journey. Yeah, because she went in there as, you know, Margarita, and she had dark hair, and she looked Spanish, and she was completely transformed over how many trips she made in there, and it turned her into Rita Hayworth.
You can't forget about the Palace Theatre. You know, with the light bulbs moving around and the orbs that I saw, and then you cannot forget the Ouija board session.
You can't tell definitely ever if it's for real or not, because there could always be one person slightly pushing something. You know, you just can't tell. It's impossible. You know, it might have been correct, it might not have been, but I have not got proof, and I will never be able to get proof, so I can't use that as part of my investigation.
And being downstairs, a lot of us were sensing that dark spirit that told us to go down there. And it was very active for us.
Hopefully, if she is on the other side, I hope that she's happy and peaceful, and because she's had a traumatic life, what were the changes that she had to go through physically, and then, of course, mentally towards the end of her life with Alzheimer's disease. I hope that she's a happy spirit somewhere.
I hope she's happy too.